2023 was the year of transformation, and here is more things that I took with me from that year. 1. There are days I wake up and realize life doesn't always hand us good fortune, and it doesn't always shield us from bad. But even still, we are the ones who give meaning to what we receive, whether pain or blessing. If I choose to transform it, I can make it something of value. That's the true power we carry, the power to rewrite, not just survive. 2. Great minds have always examined the world, not to grow cold or bitter, but to better understand it, not to hate each other, but to love deeper, to admire the human journey with respect, even when it's flawed, even when it's dark. That's how I try to look at people now, not through judgment, but through insight. 3. They say, the pendulum of the mind swings between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. I felt that. We try so hard to live in black and white, but most of life is just gray, full of mystery, uncertainty, trial, and intuition. What we believe becomes what we create. So I've learned to believe in myself not as wishful thinking, but as a subconscious contract. Because the mind, especially the subconscious, doesn't just hear words, it acts on belief. And belief must become a habit. 4. I started visualizing who I want to be. I whispered affirmations into my own soul until they didn't feel like lies anymore. And slowly, I began to change. There is room for everyone. I don't need to race against anyone. I just need to run toward myself. 5. If I ever feel lost, overwhelmed, unsure, I give it time. I sleep on it. And somewhere in that rest, the answers begin to rise. That's how the subconscious works. Like an iceberg, only a small part is visible, but beneath it is a whole world of thought, memory, feeling. 6. My conscious mind. It plans, it questions, it analyzes. But my subconscious? That's where my truths live. That's where my habits are stored, where my emotions are processed, where my dreams are built, and my past is recorded. 7. Sometimes I'll plan an activity. I'll say, I'll do this at 3 p.m. But whether it happens or not, that's up to my subconscious. It decides based on 100 quiet calculations. Did I enjoy this last time? Do I believe I can do it? What did it cost me before? What will it give me now? And unless I take time to recognize those quiet answers, I'll just keep making excuses. I've done it for years without even knowing. So I started writing it down, again and again, speaking to myself like a coach, not a critic, telling my subconscious, this matters. This is good for you. We are doing this. And eventually, we did. 8. I realized the subconscious mind is like fire, like electricity, pure power, but directionless without instruction. It needs leadership, and that leadership comes from the conscious mind. It sees life as images and stories and feelings. The conscious impresses ideas onto it, and the subconscious runs the program. But even deeper than that, we are vessels. We carry the emotions of others. We absorb their beliefs. Their voices echo in our minds and try to become our own. That's why I'm so careful now about who I let speak around me, because every word is a seed. And when I work, I want it to serve something bigger than me. I don't want my efforts to be rooted in pride or performance. I want them to be acts of worship, acts of love, acts of healing. Because work without soul is slavery, and purpose without service is selfish. So I edit my thoughts now. I monitor them. I direct them. Because when I start shaping my inner world, my outer one begins to shift too. That's how I know I'm the author now, not the world. Me. 9. Some see life as a war, but I see it now as a game of energy, a game of reflection. What you put in, you get back. What you do echoes. What you say returns. And games only make sense when you understand the rules. 10. My conscious mind sees the world as it is, but my subconscious shapes how I live in it. And if I want to understand someone, I just listen to their words. Words are thoughts, and thoughts tell the truth. If someone speaks well of others, it tells you everything. If they wish peace for others, they likely have peace inside. But as I keep learning more, I also carry more responsibility. Knowledge isn't just power, it's accountability. And every soul around me, they're not random. They're teachers, messengers, mirrors. Whether I like them or not, they're here for a reason. 10. I've learned that if I want good health, I must live in harmony, not just eat better or avoid addictions, but stop feeding weakening thoughts, because everything begins inside. 11. Intuition is a spiritual compass. It doesn't explain, it just points. And I trust that now, because when I'm calm within, what's meant for me finds me, even money, even peace. So I stay aware, I stay grateful, I water my emotions with gratitude, because what I nurture grows. And when my feelings try to lead my mind, I pause. I remember, the wise understand this balance. The unwise don't even know it's happening. 12. Sometimes I sit quietly and observe how much of our behavior is driven by a simple desire, to feel pleasure and avoid pain. That's it. At the root of most choices, most patterns, most addictions, lies this basic emotional programming. 13. The mind doesn't always want truth. It wants comfort. So it searches not for clarity, but confirmation. 14. Confirmation bias is when we go digging for only the evidence that proves we're right, and completely ignore the signs that might prove us wrong. It's like being our own defense attorney, playing devil's advocate with ourselves, just to keep our current view intact, even if it's limiting us. 15. Then there's conviction bias, that feeling of, how can I be wrong if I believe in this so deeply? We tie our certainty to emotion instead of truth. But emotion doesn't always mean something is right. Sometimes it just means it's deeply ingrained. So now I practice openness. I don't assume I understand people just because I've met many. Each soul is an undiscovered country, and there is chemistry to be explored in every encounter. You miss so much beauty, so much insight if you assume too quickly. I've also learned to pay attention to what people don't say, their tone, their body, the slight pause in their breath. Everyone wears masks. But the body doesn't lie. Facial expressions, the rise or drop in the voice, the way someone stands when you walk into the room, that's where truth lives. And not because they're trying to deceive. No, most people don't even know they're doing it. They're just protecting themselves, avoiding conflict, hiding wounds. So instead of trying to correct their perception, I let people imagine me however they need to. Let them paint their own picture. Because who I truly am doesn't need validation. It just needs peace. 16. And speaking of peace, I had to cure the social media fever in myself. That habit of clicking, scrolling, watching things that don't matter. It numbs the mind, but not in a healing way, in a distracting way. I had to break the cycle, to stop trading my time for digital noise. Now I stop trying to change people. I work with what's in front of me, not to control, but to understand. Because real growth doesn't come from forcing, it comes from meeting reality with grace.